Okay guys, story time on how this time last year my dad beat me on the beach in front of my whole entire family and everybody on the beach. Okay, so for just a little background, my father has always been abusive towards me. He's manipulative, he's a narcissist, he's an alcoholic, and ever since I was little, he has put that anger to me, especially after my parents divorced. So this happened this time last year on our annual beach trip because we go every year with his side of the family. So it started off in the morning. He was in a bad mood because my sister wasn't cooperating, and so I had to get her like up and ready, and she just wasn't listening, and so he was ticked off from that like from the start. So we are at the beach and he's been throwing some like little remarks at me, like saying how I'm a bad sister and stuff like that all throughout the day, and like even before we get to the beach. So I was setting up everything for the beach because everybody else had left me to do it by myself, and I saw from the distance my brother and my dad kind of yelling at each other, and my brother looking upset. And so my dad was like, Mabel, listen to your business, like go the fuck away, like just leave us alone. And I saw my brother like looking upset, and I was like, yeah, no, because my dad was like raising his hands and flinging them all around. And I was like, one thing that's not gonna happen is you putting your hands on my brother. So obviously I stepped in. This was my dad and this was my brother, and so I was like right here, and I was like, Dad, just let my brother go hang out with his cousins, it's fine, we'll figure it out later. And he flipped out because I, separated them. And my dad wasn't just yelling at my brother, he was like pushing him and getting really handsy with him. And I was like, got a special guest. And so there was just a moment where I saw rage fill my dad's eyes. I don't even know why. And he just kind of charged at me like a bull. That's kind of what I've been like imagining, like what he was. So he comes to me, he grabs me by the shoulders and headbutts me and then shoves me to the ground. Okay? So I'm on the ground, my whole entire family is watching this happen along with other people at the beach, and I'm like, what just happened? I'm on the ground, my head's throbbing, and my dad is above me. And so I stand up and I'm like, do you realize what you just did? You just shoved and abused your daughter in front of everybody. I was like, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? And he was like, nothing's wrong with me, I barely did anything to you, that barely even happened, you're fine, get over it. And I was like, get over it? My head has a goose egg and I'm dizzy. What do you mean get over it? So I look around at my aunt and my uncle and my grandma, and they're just watching. And I'm like, are you... So I was like, great, gonna have to do this myself. And so I was like, you're crazy, I'm never speaking to you again, good luck, you don't have a daughter anymore. And he is looking around at all the people on the beach, and he's like, this is none of y'all's business, get the fuck away from us, all this stuff. I'm like, no, this actually is their business, I'm on the ground, and I can't defend myself. Mind you, he's not a small man, he's big. So even if, like, I wanted to defend myself, I was cooked. So I go home, and it's like 95 degrees, and I'm outside because I refuse to speak to my dad, and I'm having a panic attack because he follows me. He's following me around the house, he's following me outside. And he was like, none of this happened, this is all your imagination, if you tell anybody this happened, like, I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. And I was like, yeah, okay. And unironically, a police car drove by, and he looked at it, he looked back at me, and he was like, if that's for me, we're gonna have some serious problems. And I was like, okay, Dad, I didn't call the cops on you. So I sit down because I feel a panic attack coming on, and then after the panic attack, I have a heat stroke. And then my whole body's tingling, my eyes are going black, I'm sobbing, and I think it's also because I had a really bad ED in that time period. This is when my grandma comes outside, and she has a washcloth to dab on my forehead. Like, thanks for the help, Grandma. Thanks for helping me after the fact that you let your son hit me. And the funniest part about all of this is that I made him drive me home, right? And so before we left to drive me home, he made me pay for gas. He made me go inside the gas station, get him a Snickers bar and a Reese's bar, and then took my card from me. And then drove me home with no words spoken, no apology, no nothing. And he still gets handsy with me, and he's still really rude to me, and he still tries to convince me that it never happened to this day. So, yeah. That's about it. Let me know if you guys want some more stories on him. Bye, guys.
Whether it's the millions suffering in Palestine, Sudan, Congo, Afghanistan, and so many other countries around the world, these are the families being torn apart by ICE. These are not distant issues. They are happening right now as I speak.
Hi everyone. So a lot of people are asking me about what happened yesterday and they want me to give a little more context about the situation. So in this video I'm just gonna explain pretty much everything that happened to me and my experience speaking up about everything that was going on. So I live in a predominantly white county. I live in Johnston County, North Carolina, and it is a very white area, but we do have a lot of diversity still. Like, there's a lot of Muslims that go to my school, there's a lot of Hispanics, people from all over the world, and we don't really have that representation because we do live in a very, very racist area. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of background context. Originally, I wasn't even supposed to speak at graduation, even though I was the valedictorian. The county's excuse was that, one, we don't recognize valedictorian, and two, I'm a junior. So, well, I was technically a junior, but I was just going to graduate early, so that was their excuse. But it did take me a lot of fighting to get on that stage, and I'm so glad that I was able to go on that stage and speak, because the only reason why I wanted to go on that stage was because I wanted to say something, and I really think that somebody had to say something because nobody else is going to speak up. Nobody. So if you are given the opportunity, you should. So after fighting about 6 months to get a speech, the school finally gave in and they said that I could do the welcome speech. And obviously, if I said what I was gonna say at the end of my speech, if I submitted it to the school, they would have disapproved it immediately because of how racist they are, and because of all of the stuff that I've personally experienced as a Muslim Arab girl going to school here in Johnston County. So whenever I got told that I was gonna give the welcome speech, I was obviously extremely scared to say something, and I really wasn't planning on doing it, but I had so much support from my friends and my family around me, and they really encouraged me to say something. So right whenever I go onto the stage and I'm speaking, I say the welcome part, which I did submit to the school. I say the part which said, before I leave the stage, there's one last thing that I have to say. And right when Miss Hubbard heard me say that, she started yelling my name, and that's why I kept on stuttering, because she was making me so uncomfortable. She was like, lean, 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 and it was just so weird, but like the adrenaline in me just kept me going. And she let me say about half of it, and then she came up to me, shoved me, you guys can literally see it in the video, and she's like, if you don't stop speaking right now, you're not graduating. So I obviously sit down because I think I did say enough. I obviously I didn't get the chance to say everything that I wanted to say, but I did say enough that the word went out. And the whole time she was just looking back at me, giving me a nasty look, all of that bullshit. Then I had a friend come up to me. This was while they were presenting the diplomas. I had a friend come up to me and give me a hug on the stage and tell me that she was proud of me, and she told me like not to listen to admin. And right as she's going up to get her diploma, the principal, Miss Hubbard, was like, you're coming to speak to me right after you're getting your diploma withheld as well. So the both of us were supposed to get our diplomas withheld for a week, which I still have my diploma withheld. I'm not sure what happened, but Mac, if you're seeing this right now, thank you so much. And then there was just a lot of people coming up to me on the stage, which I really appreciated, and they were telling me that they were happy that I said what I said, and Miss Hubbard the whole time was just looking at us, giving us dirty looks. It was extremely disappointing to see, for the least. So whenever it becomes my turn to walk the stage, which you guys can all see this in the video, I take my diploma and she forcibly shakes my hand. Like, she clearly did not want to shake my hand. And then I try shaking the hand of the superintendent. Like, I literally pull my hand out, which they're supposed to shake our hands. All of them put their hands in their pocket. None of them looked at me. There was one admin that gave me a fist bump, and that, like, I'm literally tearing up right now thinking about it because that alone meant so much to me. So graduation is over, and then she comes up to me stomping, pissed, and she's like, I'm so disappointed in you. You made this all about yourself. Just saying like complete bullshit. She's like, I gave you the privilege to speak and you abused it. If there was anyone like, I'm not saying this in a cocky way, but if there was anyone on that stage that deserved to speak, I feel like it was me. Because in what world do we not give a valedictorian a speech? Like, that shit is actually bullshit. And then she tells me, you're getting your diploma withheld, this, and that. And I start talking to her back. I'm like, when she told me that I was making it about myself, I told her, I was like, I sat here and I spoke up for all of the people in my country and all the other countries that are unable to graduate. And it just hurt so much because they were allowed 3 prayers the whole entire speech, but the second I said something and I spread awareness, I was the one getting kicked off the stage. Like, we had two prayers, and then there was a guy that made his speech about God. And the whole time they're like all giving me dirty looks on the stage. They're all shaking their heads at me. Like, it was so disgusting. And whenever I say what I had to say, which I said it, so like, I didn't say anything wrong. If I really wanted to, I could have said something where it could have been offensive, but I didn't. I chose to say it in the most respectful tone. Nothing I said was political. It was pure awareness. And I really think if you think I did something wrong, then there's something wrong with you. But I did defend myself, and then Miss Hubbard is like, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you, which I was being extremely respectful to her. I was not trying to argue, but I stood on my word, and I'm glad that I did that. And my mom had went up to her after that, and she like was basically saying that I understand this and that. Like, she was trying to be supportive to my mom, but deep down, like, she was just pure racist. But I do want to say thank you to everyone who supported me, everyone, all the sweet messages, all the people who came up to me. I'm so thankful for you all, and I'm glad that we all were able to do something, because something needed to be said, especially here in Johnston County. But I think that's pretty much it. I will give you guys an update if they don't end up giving me my diploma, but I'm sure they will.
My family did that developed my ED. Storytime. Disclaimer, we're going to be talking about EDs. If that's not your vibe, keep scrolling. Second disclaimer, obviously no one can just like give you one, okay? There's a lot of things, I'm not going to get into that, okay? My focus is actually going to be on the environment I was raised in that nurtured this whole thing. Lock in. Also, I'm pretty sure most of my family, the majority of my family is already aware. I don't know, I don't care. Anyway, one of the largest contributing factors was the fact that I'm a twin. There's just no getting around the fact that you're gonna be compared. You're gonna be compared to each other, okay? In my family, you're not praised for individuality. You're praised for following the rules, doing what you're told, and just like following the leader, okay? Also, this is not meant as any shade against my family. This is just how it is. This is just how it happened, okay? There are plenty of people that grow up a twin and don't develop an ED. Like, love that for them. I really do. Let's start off with the fact that my parents loved to tell our birth story. Everyone's first question, who was bigger? Who was born first? Okay? And specifically, the terms heavier and bigger were like already trigger words for me. Done deal. I grew up believing that I was the bigger twin, okay? But my mom, one, didn't do anything pro body positivity. She praised one of my sisters for being like petite. She like loved to throw that around. Like, she still does. I'm gonna be honest. This is not my sister's fault, okay? She is. She's shorter. She is petite. I grew up hearing the whole so-and-so is so small, like she's the size of my twins, blah, blah, blah. She was just always commenting on my sister's bodies and other girls' bodies. I'm not trying to villainize my mom, okay? But like, Miss Girl definitely had it in her mind, skinnier, smaller is better. And I can remember vivid memories of like her praising my sister who played volleyball, like needed padded spandex, okay? And she praised the fact that her hips protruded enough that she required padded spandex to play volleyball. Like, crazy pull there. So between my mom and sibling dynamics, I'm already aware smaller is better and I don't want to be the bigger one. Right? An awareness of boys comes around in like middle school. That's where like the restricting starts coming in, okay? Because I would go home and my brothers would like tease me about being like fat or bigger or whatever. So I started to develop fear of being associated with food because food is what makes you fat. Duh, obviously. So I became terrified a guy would then see me eat and be like, oh my gosh, like she's fat, okay? Because she's eating. Fear of food is now in place, okay? So I start restricting. I stopped eating in public. And I would say that my disorder eating started as social anxiety of sorts. Middle school is also when I got my boobs. And they were large. They were large for an 8th grader. Like, now something that is very important to understand, and buckle in, my mom associated health and leanness, she still does, with the lack of boob. In my family, it was also depending on like when you got your period. If you got it later, it was representative of how athletic you were, because duh. It's like a whole nother story. So in my mom's eyes, the sooner you hit puberty, the sooner you got your period, your boobs, whatever, the less athletic you were. I might have to do 2 parts.
Are things my high effort nanny family does that would send a low effort nanny family into a coma. First thing is they are super respectful of my time. If they tell me that they need me until 5 o'clock, they're letting me off no later than 5 o'clock. I usually stay a few minutes after just because I love talking to the mom and catching up, but they will be there when they say they're going to be there. Back in April, they took me and my boyfriend on a weekend trip with them. They had a wedding and they paid for everything on the trip. They paid for our hotel room, food, gas, drink, and then on top of that, they paid me my hourly rate for the times that I was in charge of watching their son. Speaking of my boyfriend, they let him hang out with us anytime. He came and played with us at the park the other day. They have full trust in me, and that is something that I will never take for granted. They put a car seat in my car so that I can take him pretty much wherever within reason, obviously. But if I need to run my errands, I can go run my errands. They also give me money each month for gas. So they also, for every like holiday or special day, they've given me a gift. They gave me the nicest Christmas bonus on Valentine's Day. I walked into the living room and they had a little basket of goodies for me. Same with my birthday. They spoil me. I was working the day that we brought our puppy Millie home, and they let me bring their son over to my house for when our puppy came home so that I could be here. The mom works from home, so sometimes she can hear what's going on, but she has never once tried to jump in to intervene or tell me how to discipline her child. When I'm there, she lets me be in charge. She will jump in sometimes if we need help, like if she can literally hear that my hands are physically full, or if I can't find something, she'll come help me out. They also include me in their life, like outside of my job, which I find so sweet. They've invited me to his Christmas musical, his trunk or treat, his birthday party, and not once have I ever felt underappreciated. They thank me like 10 times every day. I'm just so grateful for that job. I absolutely adore that family, and I literally could not ask for a better nanny family.
So I work at a real estate office, and we'll have people come in, obviously, and like agents will meet clients, blah 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 blah, and I have my own office. So I'm sitting in my office, this guy comes in, agent greets him, whatever, agent goes back to office. Guy comes into my office and stands there in the doorway and just says, "I'm sleepy." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Okay. He's like, "Can you make me a coffee?" And I'm like, I'm actively in the middle of doing something on my computer. Like, I'm actively in the middle of doing something, but sure, I'll get up and make you a coffee. That's fine, whatever. So I get up and I'm making him a coffee, and naturally, because he's old and a man and he's creepy and weird, he has to make things creepy and weird for literally no reason at all. So right next to my office, there's another younger girl who sits literally directly next to my office, and he's like, "She's cute, you're cute too." And I'm like, oh my God. Why do we have to start this? Why? And I was like, okay. And he was like, "I can say that because I don't work with you." I'm like, "No, not really." I'm like, "Okay." I'm not saying thank you. I'm just saying, okay, haha, awkward laugh. And then I'm making his coffee and he's like, "You can just say thank you, you know?" And I'm like, oh my God, why does this have to be like this? Why does this conversation have to be weird? Why couldn't we just talk about the weather? Why couldn't we talk about literally anything else? Why are you being weird? Why is this the conversation we're having? And I say nothing back because I'm like, that's fucking weird. Sorry. And I go back to my office and I'm actively engaged with my computer, okay? He comes back, of course, because this can't just be the end of the conversation, correct? And he goes into the doorway and he's just like, can I have your phone number? No. At this point, I'm just so annoyed because this man is 80 years old and is wearing a toupee, a really bad toupee, okay? This man is 80 years old, okay? 80 years old. Can I have your phone number? I said, no. Because no is a sentence, okay? Because at this point, I usually am pretty nice to people, even when they're being annoying and weird. I'm not doing it today. I'm just not doing it today. I don't know who you are. You're 80 years old. Get out of my office. I said no. And then he was like, okay, can I get your email address? And I'm like, why do you need my email address? And then he was like, I need to print something from your guys' office computer. And I'm like, point, get out of my office. I am so annoyed. Fine, I'll give you my email address. So I give him my email address because I'm like, what? I could just block him from my email if it's that annoying. And at this point, I'm already like texting my boss, who's in the office, and I'm like, please come help me because this guy is and it's just giving me such bad vibes. Please come help me. And then, so my boss comes over, and then as soon as my boss enters the doorway, he's just like, oh, security's been called. I'm like, who are you? Why are you in my office? I don't understand. Get out of my office, okay? Why is this such a weird interaction? What is wrong with this man? I don't care that you're 80 years old. What is going on? Get out. So then my boss laughs. I awkwardly laugh because we're all just in my office. And I'm like, get out. And then finally he like scribbles down my email address. He never sends me anything to print, by the way. And then he spells my name wrong also, thank God. And he leaves. And then he's just hovering about, going back and forth. And I eventually just shut my door and I lock it because I'm like, get out. Why do I have to entertain these old men? Get out. I don't understand. Well, that had to, oh my God. I just can't. Okay, sometimes I just feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone and I'm like, what is going on? This is weird.
A story time on how me and my best friend stopped being friends over a boy. So before I start saying what happened, this happened like in February. I'm sorry, girl. I know it's not recent, but this is a long time ago. I was still in school at this time, so just to let y'all know that. So this day, it was B-Day. And I had two friends, which is the girl I stopped being friends with and my other friend. I'm gonna give my ex-friend and my friend a nickname so I don't gotta tell like who it is, because like I follow mutuals on here that I know. So the girl I stopped being friends with is Blueberry and my other friend is Strawberry. Okay, so me and Blueberry and Strawberry was on the track. We went to the portables where the shade was, and I guess we were just talking and we wanted to walk. Well, I didn't want to walk. My friend Strawberry wanted to walk. So then I was like, okay, we can just go walk. And you know how in middle school we don't have playground, but like we have a monkey bars. It's like some type of workout type of things, whatever. Strawberry and Blueberry was doing the monkey bars and I was sitting down. And Strawberry came to sit down with me, and I guess they were talking about something about free something, I guess, I don't know. And then I told my friend like she gave this boy a free cookie, and she said, huh? I'm like, bro. And then Blueberry heard, and I guess she got mad or whatever, and I was like, bro. So then Strawberry, she wanted to go back to the portables because we was in the sun and we was hot. So then we wanted to go, and Blueberry didn't want to go. So Blueberry said no to Strawberry, saying to let's go to the portables. So then we just left her there. And once we got over there, bro, this is gonna be so, like, oh my god. We go sit down at the portables and tell me what Strawberry told me. She told me how it's because, like, I play too much. Like, every time me, Strawberry, and Blueberry have 4th period together, but the when we was at the track, it was B day, which is 8th period. So on B days we only have 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, which is B day, and then first, 2nd, 3rd, 4th is A day. So on a whole different day, we had this class. We have it all together, and sometimes I'd be like, bro, it's so quiet when she's not here, bro. I'd be joking, like, I'm just like trying to play with you, bro. And she did not take. She took that as a wrong way, bro. So she has the audacity. How you say it? Audacity? I don't know, but she has that opportunity to say that. That's why I don't hang around with fake people. I'm like, girl, you're fake. You talk about, like, you talk all that smack about your friends behind their back to your other friends, and somehow they find out, and once they come out, like, once they all come to you, you want to be all sorry, like what? And then she told me how I made a rumor about something, her ex or something, and supposedly her freaking aunt died. I'm like, girl, what? I did not know your aunt died. Like, I don't even care about your family, for real. Like, why would I have an opportunity to talk about your aunt when I know damn well I don't even know your family like that? I only know one aunt of yours, and your mom, and your freaking stepdad, your dad. That's all I freaking know, and your freaking dad's wife or girlfriend. I don't know what the hell. And then what's it called? I was doing this tree business, and she was saying that my strawberries were small. Baby, don't be mad because you're small and little and skinny as hell. Like, bro, be so for real. And I'm not making this story time to, like, for all of y'all to go to her. Like, I'm just telling the truth. And then I went to her and I was like, bro, like, did you talk about my strawberries? Like, why are you talking about my strawberries? And she was like, she was just taking off her makeup. And then she was kind of scaring me there, but anyways, it's okay. And then what's it called? She was like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, girl, be quiet. That's why you had hair in your cookies and I left. Because I was not going to deorganize. And then, and that's when we stopped being friends. We've been stopped being friends, bro, before that. It was Friday, so I did not see her for the last 2 days, and I'm glad, and yeah. And the fact how she said we stopped being friends over a boy, no, you could have spoke up as a real person and be like, hey, I don't want to tell you this or that. I would have been like, okay, like, I understand. Like, I don't care who you like and who you want. Like, you basically like 7th graders at this point. It was a 7th grader, and bro, Blueberry, Strawberry were making it so obvious. I have no beef with Strawberry. She's still my friend. And yeah, like, she could have stood up as a person and been like, hey, like, I don't want to tell you this. So I just said it myself. And then tell me why we was, like, walking to, like, the track, and then she was behind me. Strawberry was right beside me. I look back. Her ass is doing... I'm like, girl, you look weird. And and then she said something, but I don't know what she said, but I didn't care. I just said what I had to say. Yeah, she looks weird when she did it, because she's not slick, just behind me. Like, if you really wanted to do it, you could have been in front of me and doing it in my face. So, if you have a problem with me, just say that, and I dropped the beef with you. I'm just saying, don't talk about me. I gave you so many chances in the past, how, like, you were just talking about me for these past years, and I gave you chances. And no, I'm not giving you no more chances. I gave you like 5, 6 chances. Like, yeah. So I tried putting the video on here, but it does not want to pop up. But I have the voice memo. I don't have the video because I didn't want to make it too obvious. So, like, she don't want to say anything. So once I said something, everybody went quiet. Just so you know.
You were telling everybody hearing you saying that I'd be sending small strawberries and that they're dry and all that. They're not dry. You hadn't even tried my strawberries. Yes, you did. You just not because you have fucking hair in your damn cookie.
So as you can tell, all she said is, wait, what did she? I didn't even say shit. Like, girl, but everybody telling me, like, 2 people told me, and this one girl that told me I trust her. So like, girl, might as well shut your mouth. And yeah, bye. And make sure to follow. And my video went viral, so thank you. So yeah, bye.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's your favorite white bitch. Today I'm gonna get ready with y'all and give y'all a little story time on the second time I ever got set up. This was by my best friend, and we're gonna name her Snail. Boom. When I first moved to San Antonio, I had this big little habit of when I became friends with these certain kids, I would run away. My mom would say, Haley, go to your room. Run away. You can't go outside. Run away. You can't smoke in this house. Run away. This said friend named Snail would always come and get me. There was this one day that me and my mom got into a really big fight over some foundation. When I was younger, I would use all my mom's stuff. I don't give a fuck. She had her daughter. So her chonies, drawers, bras, everything. So me and my mom got into a big old fight, and she destroyed my room looking for, like, just livid. So I didn't have a phone at the time, and I went to the living room and I went on my mom's computer. I run to the living room and I get on my mom's little computer and I log into my Instagram. I text my friend, oh, my mom's tripping. Come pick me up. I'm running away. He's like, bet. We're gonna pick you up and we're gonna go on this little 2-man, so get cute. So I go to my room and I decide to start getting ready, and my mom's like, where do you think you're going? What do you think you're doing? And I'm just not answering her, like, oh, you want to ruin my room? You want to ruin my room? I'm gonna ruin my life. So then once I get a message on the little computer that my friend's here, I'm ready. I go outside with my little bag. I'm thinking I'm like literally the one that got away. No, texting me, she's like, where are you going? Blocked her ass, because you want to be weird? You want to dirty my room? Block. Go pick up this from these people, like, do you have like $10 extra? And I ain't gonna lie, at the time I didn't have no money, but I did have like lotto tickets because my mom was heavy on those. I was the youngest friend in the group, so I gave my friend the lotto tickets. She went inside, cashed them out, we got the cash, and we went about our way. We went ahead and went to this house, and in this house there was these 2 guys. Then everybody starts taking pictures in this little mirror, and the person that's there for me is like, I want to take a picture with you, like, let's get in the mirror. I'm like, okay, cool. I had joggers that my cousin Johnny lent me, and I was wearing them, and I remember the guy telling me, he was like, oh, let me wear your joggers, like, you just wear the little shorts, because I had little Spanx under. And I was like, cool, like, hey, cool. After we take photos, I don't really remember too much. All I remember is, like, I got really, really dizzy, and I laid down. And when I woke up, I'm in my homegirl. What I do notice is your bitch has not her big joggers. And I needed to come back with these because these are my cousins. My homegirl's like, you're tripping. And I'm like, no, bro, like, they have my pants. Like, I don't have my pants. Like, you have pants on here. I'm like, no, these are not my pants. Like, these are not the pants I have pants that I came with. These are not the ones I came with. Where at home, like, yeah, we just came up on some big joggers, ho, yeah. No. So I'm just like, bro, what? I'm arguing with my homegirl. I'm like, dude, they took my pants. Like, what? And then my mom starts texting me, like, on Facebook Messenger, everything, because I blocked her number. And she's like, I'm calling these motherfucking popo. You better get your ass here. You got 10 minutes. Mind you, my friend's driving me back. So I tell her, I'm like, just pull over right here, bro. Like, just pull over. And she's like, no, we're going to take you. Like, and I'm like, no. Like, just pull over right here, bitch. Like, I will walk from right here. I'm good. She's like, no, like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, bro, you're the reason my pants got took. Realistically, it's not her fault, it's my fault. I should have just never given nobody my pants. But you're my friend and you know that I was lit. Like, don't let me get too lit. And I'm not saying bitch babysit me, but bitch, you knew what was going on. Now that we're here in this time of life and like we already talked about everything, she knew that all of this was the plan to take my pants. So then I'm arguing with her and I'm like, no, like, I'm gonna just get out of the car. And she's like, no, like, stop, you're tripping. And I'm like, look, Snail, I'm getting out of the car. And I get out and driving is like tripping. He's like, bro, like, tell her to stop. And I'm like, nah, y'all are weird. Like, y'all weird as fuck. Like, y'all are on that setup shit. And I used to live like right at the end of Taft. And if you know, like, there's Mama Margie's on the corner. There's a corner store. Then you walk and there's like a bushes. I thought I was on the sidewalk and my mom drove, and apparently, like, I was literally in the middle of the fucking road, bitch. Just the road as fuck. Lit off my ass. Just gone. My mom put me in the car, and all I remember is her just putting me in the car. Like, she's putting me in the car, and I woke up in the hospital. When I wake up in the hospital, I just remember having like a chingles of sticky things, like one right here, one right here, one right here. And all I remember thinking is my fucking babe pants are still not with me. I look over and my mom's sitting in the chair, kind of slumped over like asleep, and I just like, you know, I just feel bad. So I just hope this thing goes over. But I'm low-key scared because every time I go to the hospital, I end up in the mental hospital. I'm like, I want to go to sleep, but I don't want to go to sleep because I don't want to wake up in a fucking mental home. Out of the hospital, we got discharged, and my mom was telling me, like, you know, everything they found in my system and stuff. I was just telling her, like, what? Like, I don't remember any of that. Like, gasoline in my system, like, what the fuck? And my mom was just kind of like, as long as you're okay, like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes. But in my head, I'm like, I gotta get these fucking joggers back. So I start texting the said guy that took the pictures with, and I'm like, hey, like, can I have my pants? Like, they're mine. And I'm blocked. I'm gonna text my friend. Mind you, the bitch that I always text anytime I'm going through it, always picks me up. Her and her mom have literally loved me down. I go to text her and I'm like, hey, like, do you remember my pants from yesterday? Da 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 da. She blocks me. So then I'm thinking, like, oh my god, like, what did I do yesterday? Like, did I say something that was rude? Like, did I act out of character? Like, did I do something off? I go on my spam and I go look at this motherfucking snail snake phony funky dumb bitch wearing my pants with the guy from the 2-man she was trying to put me on with. And Snail, I want my pants back. And man, yeah, man, you, I'm gonna need. Love y'all, bye. And don't ever hang out with your best friends because they're really not your best friends if they're from San Antonio.
I'm so done with dating. I cannot, my heart cannot, like, physically take it because it's just every person that I meet, every guy that I go on a date with, I feel like I always, like, try and want something more, and it never works out. And I really don't know how to date anymore or what to do, or if other women are going through this, because you think that someone's actually really good and you think it's going so well and you vibe and hit it off, and then they completely switch and change their personalities. I just went on I wouldn't even call it a date. He had nothing planned, and he asked me beforehand what I wanted to do, and I thought we were just gonna grab a drink somewhere, and then he asked me what my favorite snacks and drinks were. I'm like, oh, okay, like, maybe we would just watch a movie or something and then go grab a drink. And then we were just sitting outside on a bench, and this guy, like, I had no idea what was planned. I thought we were gonna go out and have a drink or do whatever, and I was not expecting to sit on a park bench for like 30 minutes. And I was like, so what did you want to do? Like, I'm totally fine with sitting outside and getting to know somebody, but I didn't know that. I thought we were going to do something else, something a little more fun or interactive. And this guy had nothing planned. And then he's like, well, you can go home. And I was just like, okay. Like, I did not know that was on the plan, that the schedule. Like, I thought we were going to go out, have a good time, or hang out. And I was like, okay, do you not want to hang out or, like, go out? And he's just like, no, not tonight. Like, I went out, like, all last weekend. I'm like, why are you guys so fucking weird and rude? Why can you not plan dates? I'm like, why did you even invite me over then? Why did you even invite me over? Why, like, is it because I didn't want to hook up? Like, I don't know what you guys want anymore. It's disgusting. I don't want to hook up with people. I am sick of the lustful men out there. I just want to actually just really have a good time with somebody and love somebody, and it seems like nobody wants that anymore, and I just want to have a normal fucking date. And I think I've been on, like, just horrible dates, and I'm starting to think that I just have the worst pick in people and men, and because, like, I am an extremely loving person. Like, I am very open, I'm very vulnerable, which is probably a fault for me. I am extremely vulnerable. I'm emotional at fault. Like, I'm pretty sensitive, but that doesn't mean that I can't love, and I'm loyal. Like, I don't, it's just so many people just are not pure anymore. They don't care. They just want to fuck, and that's all they want to fucking do. Where's the connection? Where's the emotions? Where's the fun? Where's the creativity? Like, where's anything? Like, that, the spark does not exist anymore because the dating culture is so fucked. And I cannot do this anymore. And then And then he said, well, I just got out of a really long relationship. I was like, don't pull that shit on me. Like, we're both on dating apps. Why are you on a dating app if you're not fucking ready to date? The whole point of a dating app is so you can find somebody. I am just so tired of it. I am so tired of it. I am tired of meeting the worst of the worst fucking people who just make rude jokes, who have like snap scores of fucking million. I just don't trust anybody anymore. Everybody is fucking cheaters. Like, this, oh, I just got so frustrated, like, this whole rant, like, everybody is just so sick and disgusting and cheating, and that's all the world is, and that's all dating is. So I am done with it. I am done with men. I'm just going to have all the friends in the world and travel and be happy. I am sick of fucking dating because men suck fucking ass. Like, it is so bad. It is so bad. Where's the love? Where's the chivalry? Where's the flowers? Where's anything? Like, guys just don't care anymore. And I'm not saying that all men are like that, but where is he then? I live in fucking Iowa. I don't care if my husband's in, I don't know, it's just clearly not the right area for me then, but it sucks. I just wanted a good date, and then I just get, like, left on a fucking park bench, having to walk back to my car because this guy said that he's not ready for a relationship. Why did you even invite me over then? I am so done with dating. I just don't think true love exists anymore, like they show in movies or books. Like, it's all fucking fake. But if there is a nice single man out there, please hit me up. I live in Iowa, and I'm gonna move out of it because I can't. Iowa's boring anyway, but yeah. Anyway, have a nice day.
I just got back from Switzerland, and safe to say I learned a lot. So here are some things that I learned / wish I knew before going. As soon as you land, go ahead and download the SBB mobile app. It's red, and then you're gonna go online. You can't buy it through the app, but you can create your account on the app. You're gonna go online to www.sbb.ch, and that is where you're gonna buy your Swiss pass. I am telling you right here, right now, if you go to Switzerland and think you're not going to buy a Swiss pass, you're wrong. Do it. It is going to be beyond worth your money, and truly, they have it down to a science, that country and their transportation. I read about this, but honestly didn't believe it until I got there. If you have the Swiss pass, it allows you to hop on or off any train, most buses, and get a lot of discounts when doing a lot of tourist attractions or activities in the country. You can ask anybody, it is beyond worth the money. You're gonna end up spending probably more than that if you don't buy it. You don't have to book train times, which is the best thing in the entire world, knowing that if you miss a train connection, whatever, you're gonna be okay, and that you don't have to pre-book a ticket or a seat on a train before getting on it. I was astonished. That is like something I think Europe as a whole needs to just get on and do, like a Euro pass or something, because it was the best thing. I kept saying it the entire time I was there, that anyone or any country has ever invented. If you are flying into Zurich and you are trying to go to the Alps, give yourself just about half a day to get there after you land, just because it's all going to be new to you and you haven't used the Swiss pass before or the Swiss railroads. A lot of connections, a lot of running back and forth in between trains. You might make a little bit of a mistake. I know I did. We ended up in some random town at one point, but that's okay. We went from Zurich to Wenningen, and at first it said there would be 5 transfers, and we were like, there's no way. Like, there has to be an easier way to do this. No, just buckle up, put your patient pants on, and get ready for a day of beautiful views. You can't really complain. Along with that, I went to Portugal earlier this summer, and I see all over social media how bad Lisbon airport is, and it truly is just that bad. But I didn't see anything about Switzerland, and when we got off the plane, I feel like it took just about 45 minutes to get through customs and everything. I do think we beat the crowd. For some people it might have taken longer, but I kid you not, once you get off that plane, go use the electronic entry exit system, and then you still have to go see someone at the passport control desk, but that will expedite your process so much more. Do not stand in that long line. Do the process on the electronic entry exit system, and then
go to the way shorter line on the side to go see the passport control person. We met someone on the train and she said that she didn't do that and it took her like 3 hours to get through customs, and we were like, girl, no. Why didn't you use the entry exit system? And she was like, I just didn't know if it would work or not. And I was like, girl, no, it works, like, trust. Okay, I have 2 more left. 1, the weather there, you can go through a whole set of seasons in just one day, nonetheless, like 1 hour. So you can wake up, it's freezing cold, then it's scorching hot, but then it's freezing cold like 5 minutes later, and then it's pouring rain, and then it's whipping rain, it's like a hurricane, and then it's beautiful and sunny again, and then it could basically like snow the next day. So truly, the weather varies and it's really hard to pack for. We overpacked like no other because truly we're just wearing athletic wear most of the day for the activities we were doing. Very rarely were we in normal clothes. The one thing that I couldn't recommend more is buying a good rain jacket. At first, my mom bought the one from Lululemon and she was like, you should really get one. I was like, I can't justify spending that money. And she gets a discount for being a yoga instructor. So she was like, I'm just gonna buy it for you because I think it'll be worth it. And thank God she did. Thank God, that thing is literal magic. It repels rain, I swear, and dries in 2 seconds. It's incredible. The last thing, it's like, funny, but like, seriously, don't order cheeseburgers there. Unless we are missing something. We tried one time, because we're like, there's cows everywhere. They have to be incredible. The milk there, amazing. The cheeseburgers, I don't know, it's not cow. It's not cow. We tried it again. No. Yeah, no. Anyways, those are my brief tips. There's like plenty more, so if you have any questions, let me know. But we had ourselves the best time, and I know the Swiss railroads and, you know, Swiss Pass is really complicated at first, but I promise you, at the end of the day, you'll get the hang of it and utilize that app, and it'll become your best friend, and you'll have it down to a science. It is amazing. It's so efficient and awesome. I wish all of Europe did that. But have the best time. Enjoy it. Enjoy all the crazy weather and beautiful views. I'm so jealous of you. And yeah.
Okay, so my boyfriend of 4 years left me abruptly and started sleeping with his ex-coworker not even a week later. And she is currently TikTok famous for being cheated on her husband while she was pregnant, and gaining a lot of sympathy from people online and talking badly about the mistress that he left her for, when she is basically doing the same exact thing to me. Let's talk about it. All right, so for the sake of the story, because I don't want to say their real names, even though I could probably figure it out. Let's say my ex-boyfriend now, his name is John, and her name is Kara. Okay, so John and Kara used to work at the same place a little while back. I knew both of them, and yeah, they worked together for a little while. Kara was left in about, I want to say September or October, early October of 2024. And she called John, who was my boyfriend at the time, and told him what happened. And, you know, I didn't think too much of it because they used to work together, they were friends, you know, she's going through something. Makes sense to want to share that. So then John, I was planning to be out of town because I had a work trip, and John tells me that they're gonna go have lunch while I'm out of town with another couple that I do know and trust. So, you know, at first I was like, well, I want to go to lunch too. I want to see everybody and, you know, be there. I know all of them. You know, why can't we reschedule the lunch for a time that I will be home? And he says, well, no, that's when everybody can go. That's the time we agreed on. It's not up to me. I was like, okay, I mean, sure, I wanted to go, but if I'm not going to be here, that's the time you guys agreed on. I guess I'm left out of it, whatever. So they go to lunch. I don't know if anything more happened at that lunch. I have no proof of that, but the things that happened after that do kind of lead me to believe that maybe it was more than just a lunch. But so yes, basically, so that was in October. Our 4-year anniversary was the end of October, so we went on a 4-year anniversary trip. And John, in our early relationship, had told me if he was with somebody for about 4 years is when he would propose, because he thought that was a good time to propose to somebody. So I'm thinking it's happening soon. You know, to me, he was my everything. I would do anything for him, and I did do anything and everything for him. So I accepted him for all of his flaws. We all have flaws. No relationship is perfect. So I was happy and ready to spend the rest of my life with this guy. So yes, we have our 4-year anniversary. Then we go on a trip for his birthday, which is in December. A week after we get back from, sorry, I had to change. So basically a week after we get back from his birthday trip is when he leaves very abruptly. We had just gone out with some of our friends whose birthday was the night before. Yeah, so when he told me he was leaving, we had just returned from the store, and he tells me in the kitchen right when we get back from the store, I'm not happy, I want to leave. And I was shocked. You know, I tried to ask him all the questions under the sun. Basically, all the information I got from him is that we want different things, and he can't give me what I want because he doesn't want to get married or have kids or, you know, all this stuff. So he's doing me a favor. And I was like, at the time, I was like, no, if you're doing this for me, don't do it, blah, 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 whatever. Long story short, he leaves. About a week later, I am invited out to a brunch with some girlfriends, and Kara is there. And at this point, I don't know about anything of her between her and John, but I see Kara, and I know she had just gone through a similar situation, being left by her husband pretty abruptly. I was just left by my 4-year relationship very abruptly. So, you know, I sat down, I, you know, confided in her, related with her, you know, told her that me and John used to watch her videos, and, you know, we felt bad for what she was going through. And she was like, oh, don't feel bad for me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, thought it was a weird reaction, but also didn't think much of it at the time, until I find out a couple days later that she had been sleeping with John ever since he left me, basically. So, and so when she sat there next to me, smiled in my face, all the while knowing, yeah, that she was with my ex not even a week after he left. So to me, that is just not good behavior, especially when something had just happened to you and you're obviously very upset and hurt by that, and you even said in your videos that you don't wish that on anybody, and then you turn around and do basically the same exact thing to me. And, you know, so I can't stand by and stay silent while she has, you know, a nice big platform and is getting all of this sympathy, where she's just really being dishonest with all of her followers. So this is my side of the story. That's what I have to say. There's going to be more. There's definitely more to the story, like if I want to go into detail of why I think more happened at that lunch, and you know, just little things. And even right now, I know they're still sleeping together. She put a link to his business, his financial business, in her bio, so he's trying to capitalize on all of her followers. So yeah, I just don't like that. I don't like dishonesty, and I just don't think it's right or a good way to treat people, especially when you know how it feels. So yeah, thanks for listening, thanks for watching if you made it this far. I will be posting more. Feel free to ask questions. You know, I've been keeping quiet, and now I'm just over it. I'm over the whole situation. I didn't ask for this drama. I didn't want to be put into this drama, but here I am, and yeah, it's a situation I've been forced into, and there have been a lot of comments on Sarah's appearance or comparing her appearance to my appearance, And at first I did like a few of those comments because it made me feel better or validated in my situation. But I realized that that was not nice, and she is a person with feelings, even though what she did to me is not nice. But I don't think those comments are relevant because a person's appearance is really the least important thing about them. What is important is how they treat other people and who they are as persons. So I will be deleting any comments that are just purely directed at her for her appearance. That being said, let's get to the real villain of my story, who is my lying, cheating ex-boyfriend. So just a little bit of backstory. We met about 4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, when my good friend of many years invited me out. She said, I'm going out with my new coworkers, you should come. So I did, and we met, and basically me and him hit it off right from the beginning. We split off from the group and kind of just went and did our own thing, and from there we were almost inseparable. Since then we have been together, we bought a condo together. Overall, on a day-to-day, we had a happy, good relationship. In June of 2024, me and him both quit our jobs to start our own businesses. And at that time, I let him know that this is a big change for our relationship and that it's very important for us to be open and honest with our communication, because, you know, we might face challenges that we haven't seen before, because we've both always had full-time jobs and this would be new territory for us. So, you know, he agreed with that. Things were going fine really up until my business trip. After my business trip, I did notice a big shift in his personality and how he acted, and he has even told me that he started planning to leave me months before he actually did. So I noticed he started laying differently on the couch. We have like an L-shaped couch, so it's like that. So I would normally lay here and he would normally lay there. And so my head would be here, my feet would be there, his head would be there, feet there. So if he was on his phone, I could technically, if I wanted to look, I could see what was on the screen. When I got back, he started laying with his head there and feet there. So definitely being a little bit more secretive and hiding things. I didn't think too much of it at the time. I thought maybe he was just stressed with his new business and needed some space. So I gave him some grace, gave him space, didn't bother him about it. He had a credit card that had good grocery rewards points on it. So he had me as an additional user on that card. So I would do our grocery shopping and I would pay him for my half of the groceries. I did everything. I did the grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning, and laundry on top of working my business or a full-time job. But he told me that he was going to stop using that card, that he has a different card that he's going to use now, and that he asked me to give him back my card so I wouldn't accidentally use it. A BJ's opened up close to our condo, so I signed us up for a membership online. He decided he wanted to upgrade the membership, so we went to their customer service. When we were there, he asked the lady to switch the main account holder to him versus me, and I said, why does it matter? We're both on the account. She has to do more work to switch it over. And he asks her, he says, well, if she's the main account holder, she could cancel the account, right? And the lady says, yeah. He's like, okay, yeah, I want you to switch it to me. And at the time I thought that was weird. I remember we kind of got into an argument in the line because I couldn't understand why he was making such a big deal about that. He told me that I should be a brunette, and I considered it because, as I said, I literally would have done anything for him. I've told him, if there's something I'm not doing that you want me to do, let me know. If there's something I'm doing that you don't want me to do, let me know. I'm very open, honest. He never once told me he was unhappy with any part of our relationship. Never led me to believe that he would be leaving. I think he stayed with me until our vacations, until after our vacations. We had those planned already. I think he had it planned that he was going to go on those vacations and then leave me shortly after, which he did. He slept with me multiple times a day on his birthday trip, kind of like he was having his last hurrah. I think he knew it was our last trip together and he took full advantage. He already had his place to stay lined up. It was a room at his buddy's place, and Sarah says she waited for him to move out and get his own place. Well, he did that the same exact day that he left. So for him to pre-plan all of these things, and even down to our grocery club membership, but not have a woman lined up that he knew was a sure thing as well, is really hard for me to believe.
Hi guys, so I just kind of wanted to make a video and kind of explain what happened and how I ended up with my cancer diagnosis and where we're at now in the process. So Thursday, June 18th, I went in for my annual checkup just at my doctor's regular annual appointment, just a checkup and stuff. And I brought up that I was having this like hard feeling in my stomach on my left side, and that it was kind of stopping me from eating a little bit. I was getting full really fast, and at first I thought I was having trouble going to the bathroom, and then I found out like that's not what it was. So then I stopped drinking carbonated drinks because I thought that maybe I was getting super bloated from that, because I did drink an energy drink every morning, and I would drink soda occasionally at night and stuff, and that didn't work either. So then I figured maybe I just have like a gluten allergy or some kind of intolerance. So that's what I brought up to them, and they felt it and they were like, that is not good. And I think from the start they kind of knew like that wasn't my stomach and stuff. So they recommended me to go get an ultrasound and blood work done at the hospital, and they actually got me in the same day, which is really impressive because usually it would have had to be like a few days later. And luckily I didn't eat anything that morning because my appointment was at 9, and then I had to wait until 12 for my appointment at the hospital. So then we got to the hospital and I got my ultrasound done, and we found out that it was my spleen that was enlarged. And I got my blood work done, but obviously you don't get the results back right away. So we went back home, and literally like 20 minutes later, we got a call, and they were like, you have to go to the hospital. Your white blood cell count is at almost 200,000. And if you know anything about blood, the like amount where people kind of sit at is like, I think 4,500 to like 11,000, and I was at almost 200,000 of my white blood cells. And I don't know exactly off the top of my head how many platelets I had, but I had a lot more platelets than I was supposed to too. So we went straight to the bigger hospital, and then from there they had to redo the blood work, and I also got an x-ray. I'm not really sure like what the purpose of that was, because at first I got an ultrasound and then they did an x-ray. I'm not really sure if you could see the spleen on that or not. I'm not really sure what that was for. But then the doctor came in and said that I probably have leukemia. So since then I got a bone marrow biopsy, and we've kind of just been waiting for the results of that. So the bone marrow biopsy would tell us what kind of leukemia I have, and today we finally got the results, and I have chronic myeloid leukemia. Okay, and I'm going to read this so I get all the facts right, but chronic myeloid leukemia is a slow-growing blood and bone marrow cancer and causes the body to produce an overabundance of abnormal immature blood cells. Because I'm still learning what all this is as it goes. I mean, never thought I would have to know any of this, so it's definitely a learning curve. But CML is triggered by the genetic mutation called the Philadelphia chromosome, so that's what I have. I'm super blessed though, because with CML I'm not going to need a port to do IV chemo. I'm going to take my chemo through a pill. So the side effects are going to be less than if I was doing IV chemo, and I'm also not going to lose all my hair. I might have a little bit of hair loss, but I'm not going to lose all my hair. The biggest thing is probably going to be like fatigue and just like being super like tired and worn out over little things. So I'm probably going to be starting treatment in the next few days. So I'll definitely update you guys and let you know how it goes. But yeah. Also, one more thing. Chronic myeloid leukemia is slow growing, but it's also something that I'm going to have in my body for a long time. So I'm not going to be like cancer free in a few months. It's probably going to be like well into my adulthood whenever I can finally say that I'm cancer free. It'll definitely be years from now. But with the medication that I'm taking, it's very treatable. So I think that's everything, and if you guys have any questions, you can comment them or definitely DM me, and I'll try to answer anything that I can. I'm trying to just spread awareness for this because especially I like looked this up whenever I got diagnosed, and there's not a lot online like on TikTok about CML, so I definitely want to be here to educate everybody while also educating myself. Okay, I love all you guys, and there will be more updates coming soon.
My boyfriend of 4 years was signed into my social medias and I did not know, and this is how I found out. So right around the 3-year mark, I would wake up and get on Snapchat and it would say that I was logged out. Finally, after a couple of weeks of this, talking to my sister, I'm like, my Snapchat is messed up. It just keeps spinning me out and I don't know why. She's been in a lot more relationships than I have, so she was like, no, that means somebody is logging in and that's why it's kicking you out. I was like, who would possibly be logging into my Snapchat? Like, 1, I don't know that many people, and 2, how do they know my password? And 3, there's nothing to see on there. So like after the first couple times, why do they keep doing it? A couple more weeks of this goes by and I'm just like, that's so weird. Like I just don't even know who that could possibly be. Like my Snapchat must just be messed up. Fast forward 3 or 4 months, I ask my boyfriend at the time, who's no longer my boyfriend, if he's doing this, and he's like, no, just immediately, no. Why would I be doing that? But stupid me, I asked him on the same day that I finally just changed my password. I don't know, is it not happening now because I asked him about it and he knows that I know? Or is it not happening because I changed my password? Password has been changed, doesn't happen anymore. So I'm like, okay, it's gotta just be some hacker or something was getting on my Snapchat. Like, he said he didn't do it. Must just be a mistake. Yes, that was extremely naive. As I look back, I realized that there was a lot of instances where I would like say something or he would say something and I'd be like, wait, when did I tell you that? I'm not gonna lie, he was smooth with a response immediately as to how he knew this. And it turns out I was just being gaslit a lot actually, because I was like, oh, okay, like I forget things all the time. Maybe I did tell him that. Again, looking back, I realized how stupid it sounds. This is my first boyfriend though. Fast forward, we are broken up from other reasons, circumstances, whatever you want to call it. I go to get on my Instagram and it shows that I searched some dude that I have not talked to or thought about since 2020. And I was like, I think I would remember doing that. I just kind of sit on that information until the next time I hear from him. He asks me some question and all I respond with is, how long have you been logged into my Instagram? I thought he would lie, honestly. I'm really surprised he didn't. He immediately was like, the whole time, basically. So I blocked him on everything immediately because what else is there to do? A week or 2 goes by. I think he like emailed me or something because I hadn't blocked him on email. I don't even know how to do that. I didn't even know he had an email, honestly. I also didn't know he knew my email. But it turns out he was actually logged onto my email as well, which he had to be because it would send a confirmation login password, whatever it's called. That is how he would like log in their accounts because he would get the login information from my email that it sent and then go log in on his phone. So I thought that he was just logged into my Instagram. No, he was logged into my Instagram. He was logged into my Pinterest, which is what hurt the most, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. He was logged into my Snapchat and he was logged into my email. So I'm like coming up on the year of finding this out. So it's a lot funnier now than it was at the time. Not only was he logged into these, he would get on my phone when I was asleep. He would go through all this stuff. And I don't know if that came first and then he realized, wait, I could just log in on my phone. I'm assuming it was like that he was like, I don't need her phone. I can just do this from anywhere I want on my phone. I never knew his password. So like that was probably the first red flag. Oh, this watermelon is gritty. I hate watermelon like that. The thing that hurts the most about the whole entire thing is that he was logged into my Pinterest board. I have like a lot of boards that are on private because I didn't want anybody to see them. And that's where I felt like the most violated, because like now he has seen all of those boards and they're really embarrassing. Like, they're not bad, they're just embarrassing. Another thingy that also was like violating, he was looking at my notes app, and I have also a lot of really embarrassing things in my notes app. Now that I'm looking back, actually, I couldn't get into any of my notes that were locked and kept saying I had the wrong password, and now I'm wondering if he got on there and changed that password. Wow, still discovering stuff a year later. He was signed into my iCloud too. I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's an Aries. I should have started with that. He's an Aries, so it makes sense based on all the other Aries that I've been in contact with. So if you think you're naive, you probably really are. And if you think you're not that naive, somebody's probably taking advantage of that. Also, if your boyfriend has a privacy screen on his phone, probably not a good thing.
Hey guys, so I wanted to kind of hop on here and tell you guys a story. It's kind of a scary story. So it recently just happened to me in this house. So I wanted to kind of come on here and share that with you and give you the whole story. And so yeah, let's just get into it. So I think I'm going to do my makeup while I do this. I'm currently writing a book right now about my series that I did on my TikTok. If you guys haven't watched it, it is a part 6 series. It is a true, it's a memoir I'm writing. Because there's so much more details that I had left out. But that's besides the point. I want to get into the scary story that happened in this house recently that happened. And so, yeah, I'm going to try to do my makeup at the same time. Okay, so it didn't happen in this room, but it did happen in the room across from this room. And that's my mom's bedroom. So a couple of days ago, the power went out at my house where I live with my husband. We live out in the country. And so our power goes out, and since we live out in the country, we didn't have AC or anything, and we couldn't flush our toilets. We couldn't do anything like that. We were just sitting ducks. And we don't have a generator. Haha, that's crazy. But everyone else in our neighborhood did, so they were fine. So my pregnant self was like, nope, I'm going to stay here at my mom's. This is my mom's house, but she doesn't live here anymore. This is my childhood home. This is where I grew up. And she left it for me in case I ever wanted to come back and just have a place to chill. And I don't know. She just kept it and moved into a lake home. So this house has nobody living in it currently. It's not abandoned, but yeah, you get the point, right? So when the power went out, I told my husband, I'm leaving. I'm going to this house. I call it to my mom's house. And her power was on here. And so I wanted the AC, you know, I'm spoiled. I wanted to use all my stuff because I'm not the camping girl type, okay? Never been camping, never will, nada. So nobody's here. It's like 9 o'clock at night. And I usually come here and I write my book that I've been currently doing. It's just a nice, quiet, peaceful place. My laptop's on the kitchen table and I just type away. Blah, blah, blah. I'm giving you guys the backstory of this, okay? So don't be mad. So it's still thundering and lightning when I arrive here at my mom's, but her power's on and everything's on. And I get to making myself at home. And I have so I go into my mom's bedroom and I sleep in her bed because her bed's big, okay? I have my own room, but she's got a bigger bed, so and also I like to sleep with a fan on, so yeah, I need electricity or else I can't sleep. And by her bed there's a chair, a wooden chair, and it was facing in front of me. And I usually will put like my books on there, like if I have a notebook or if I have a Sudoku. I do Sudoku before I go to bed at night sometimes to unwind. And she has that there as well. And I usually put it on the base of the chair. So this wooden chair is facing me at the foot of the bed, okay? Not on the side, at the foot of my bed. The this wooden chair is facing me. I should give you context, but I'll show you the chair here in a minute. I'll get up and I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So I go to sleep. It's about like 11 or midnight. Finally, I go to sleep because I'm, you know, restless. I'm doing a Sudoku, and I remember putting that Sudoku book on the base of the chair as a table at the foot of my bed. And I remember going to sleep, and I wake up at like 3 a.m. just abruptly panic, like, wake up. Like, it felt like I was panicked or something when I woke up. It was strange. And I looked over at the clock, and it was 3 a.m. So it's still kind of thundering and lightning. I could hear it in the distance. I need to do more makeup. Hold on. It's 3 a.m. I'm tossing and turning. I can't get back to sleep to save my life. It's just me in this house, mind you guys. So I go and I get up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get myself, I'm going to get up. I'm going to go to my laptop and start working away on my memoir a little bit and just try to get myself tired again. So I get up, I turn on all the lights. I go into the kitchen and turn on all the lights, and I start typing away on my laptop. And I have my blow dryer on my feet because I'm weird and I like to keep warm. So I turned my blow dryer on because it was next to me. I always have my blow dryer with me, you guys. I'm weird. I love the heat of my blow dryer. It's comforting. Weird, I know. So my blow dryer's on, right? And then, okay, so finally 30 to 35 minutes go by. And I'm getting tired. My eyes are getting sleepy. I'm finally like, okay, I can try this again, try to go back to bed. So I turn off all the lights in the kitchen, and I proceeded to go back to where my mom's bedroom is to go back to bed. I get in the bedroom and turn on the light because the light was off. Turn on the light, and the chair's flipped completely. Flipped 180. Not on the legs, but just turned away from me, away from the bed. And that really freaked me out. My Sudoku book was still on the chair, so it wasn't like flipped or thrown on the ground or anything. It was still on it, but it was just flipped completely 180. No longer facing me, but facing a different way. And I didn't probably hear this because of my blow dryer being on. But I remember when I stood there, I just kind of blinked a little bit, like, am I dreaming? That wasn't there before. That's put in an odd position, and I didn't do that, you know? So I kind of back up and kind of just assess what I was looking at, and I'm like, that's creepy. This is very creepy. And I had the whole house deadbolted, okay? Before I went to bed, I remember locking up everything. So I knew everything was locked up, but it still was like I had this weird feeling like something did that, and it wasn't me. So I shut off the light, and I go running back into the kitchen and turn on all the lights, turn on the TV in the living room. I'm turning on lights, going crazy, and I just sit there in the kitchen, and I'm like, do I go back home to my husband where there's no power and it's just going to be dark, or do I stay here and wait for daybreak and then make a run for it when it's finally time, you know? So I stayed there. I stayed in the kitchen, and I just turned on some music. I think I turned on an audiobook or some music, and I just started like trying to distract myself in my in the book I'm writing. So I was just like, okay, this is really weird. So I just tried to distract myself from that, but ever since that moment, freaked me out. I'm going to show you guys real quick the chair. It's still positioned the way it was when it was turned. So yeah, I'll show it to you real quick. This is the chair. It didn't have this on it. Sorry. But it was faced like this when I came in. But when I was first using the chair before I went to bed, it was turned like this. So how did it turn all the way like that? Odd. I have another scary story that happened here, but it was in my basement. And I can make another video on that, but just let me know. So yeah, that was the creepy thing that happened to me recently. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, it's me again, and I wanted to come back on here and tell you guys the second paranormal encounter at my mom's house. And so yeah, if you are interested in that kind of thing, just keep watching. Okay, so this actually, my mom told me this story. So this isn't my own experience. This is my mom's, but she will not tell it because she's still skeptical. My mom's a skeptic, and even when I told her the chair story in my first TikTok about this, she didn't believe me. She thought I did it. But I'm like, Mom, I know what I saw, and I know how it felt. It's a different feeling when it's something that you know is out of a different realm. You know what I'm saying? So she actually told me this story, and it happened to her maybe a year ago. She went to sometimes go check on her house, because she lives in a lake home. She doesn't live at that house anymore, which was my childhood home. And so she goes in there to check on everything, check the temperature, check just maintenance, you know. So she walks in, and she hears this sound, this buzzing sound, and she couldn't tell where it was coming from. And it was just like a bzzz, like a really weird sound, like almost like a bumblebee or something. So she's looking around the whole house, and she can't figure it out, and she realizes the sound's coming from the basement. So she's upstairs, and she's like, oh my gosh, the sound's coming from the basement. So she decides to go downstairs, and we have a downstairs bathroom. And she walks in to the downstairs bathroom, and that's where the sound's getting louder and louder. This is where it's coming from. And we have a medicine cabinet, a mirror on the wall, but you can open it, and there's all your, you know, you can put a bunch of stuff behind it. And that's where it was coming from, was behind the mirror when you open it. And so she just kind of like looks at the mirror, and she's slowly opens. It's an electric toothbrush that was switched on. Nobody knows how it got switched on, so she switches it off. But she said it was just a very eerie feeling she got that came over her of like, how did this electric toothbrush just get switched on and just left on its own? Because I hadn't been there. I don't use that downstairs bathroom. There's a bathroom upstairs, and I didn't go there. Around that time, I really wasn't going to that house very often, so nobody lived there. So it was just a very strange, eerie thing. So she just ended up leaving, not really thinking a thing of it. My mom doesn't get scared, so she just kind of was like, oh, maybe an earthquake did it or something. Was her excuse as to why that was on. But yeah, she did mention that story to me, which makes me think something else. I think she knows something else was at play, and she doesn't want to admit it. But yeah, that's the story.
Story time about the doctor who told me to compose myself while I was in labor on my husband's birthday next to his urn. My husband died very tragically in an accident when I was about 6 months pregnant. My due date was a couple days before his birthday, and I had a scheduled induction on his birthday. I did not go into labor naturally, so the morning of what would have been my husband's 37th birthday, I headed to the hospital with his urn. The doctor said a lot of questionable things right from the beginning. The vibes were off. I could tell she wasn't comfortable, didn't want to be there. I didn't think anything of it, really. Like, I had a scheduled induction. She tried a couple times to tell me to go home and come back, which, no. Like, I'd already been in practice labor for a couple of days, so I was ready to be done with it. I ended up going into labor naturally while I was there. So before we started any induction medication or an epidural, I just labored for a couple of hours, and my midwife had brought in some laughing gas to help me through that time. When I was about 9 centimeters dilated, the doctor came in to give me an exam to see how far along I was. Peak contraction, I burst into tears, and the doctor jumped back from me and said, "What's wrong? What hurts?" Obviously, I'm about to have a baby. Everything hurts. But I was so overwhelmed in that moment. The only thing I could think to say was, I really miss my husband. And she took a few more steps back from me and said, "I think I'll just give you some time to compose yourself." So I look up, still in this contraction, and there's my mom, my in-law, my doula, and the nurses standing around my bed. And they're all looking at each other, totally shocked. Nobody knew what to say. What I didn't know at that time is that the doctor had already made comments throughout the whole day threatening to kick everybody out because there was too many people in the room and I couldn't focus. And really, it was her the whole time. She was uncomfortable. She was overwhelmed. It had nothing to do with me or them. But nobody wanted to say anything in that moment because I was so close to delivering this baby that they were afraid to get kicked out and they wanted to be there for me, which I completely understand. So when my contraction ended, I sat right up in the bed and yelled at her. I'm like, "Compose myself. I'm in effing labor." She then went on this big ramble about how I was about ready to push and I needed to be in the right headspace and I was going to have to focus on my breathing and that would be really hard to do with the headspace I was in. And she just wanted to give me like 15 or 20 minutes to compose myself and then left the room. Keep in mind, this is like 11:30 at night now on my late husband's birthday, okay? I was ready to push. It was go time. There was no stopping it. I started to push and I had the baby half delivered myself before the doctor came back in the room with my midwife. They caught the baby. He came into this world kicking and screaming, ready to go, super healthy. It was really quite beautiful and I'm pretty proud of myself for making it through that. After placenta was delivered, epidural shut off, all of that stuff, I ended up hemorrhaging and it was pretty severe. It was definitely an emergency situation and the doctor told me that she would have to do TMI, a manual internal sweep to get out whatever was remaining in my uterus. So at that point I had lost so much blood, I had started like drifting off into the ceiling and I said, "Okay, just don't let me die." And she went in for it. It hurt. I started screaming and it snapped me out of whatever place I had gone to. And I yelled at my midwife to get me the gas. So she ran over with the laughing gas, put the mask on my face. I take a good inhale and this doctor stops mid internal sweep, looks me in my eyes and says, "When I'm done this, I'm going to take that away from you. I think you like it too much." The last absolutely unhinged thing that she did, after everything was settled, my bleeding was under control, the baby was fine, she asked me if I wanted stitches. Oh, it's not that bad. Do you care that much? It's just kind of like trying to explain to me like this. It's just kind of like, do you want stitches? Do you care? Mortifying, absolutely mortifying. If I'm damaged, repair. You're a doctor. Like, I was horrified. I was so horrified that she was even asking me these questions. Then she's like, "You know what? I'll just go get you a mirror so you can see for yourself and decide." I had asked my mom and my mother-in-law to sort of stay behind the ears because only a doctor and a husband should see the business end of things in that situation. So I hired a doula to assist where a husband normally would, and have my mom's behind my ears just for emotional support. Well, that completely defeated the purpose when the doctor wheeled a massive mirror between my legs to show me the damage that was done from giving birth. Okay, I wear glasses. I did not wear glasses when I pushed my baby out of my body. So I couldn't even see the mirror between my legs. Eventually, I said, stitch it. If you think it maybe needs stitches, just stitch it. So she does. She turned to the midwife, still at the end of my bed, gives her a little elbow and was like, hey, I'm really glad we decided to stitch that. It was a little bit worse than I thought. Unhinged. Anyways, my baby is over 4 months old and still does not have a birth certificate or any government paperwork, because that's a whole other can of worms when your partner's deceased. So if you want to hear about that, let me know. This is going to be a long one again because I hate a part 2, but I wanted to answer some of the questions and address some of the comments from my last video. Did I file a complaint? Yes. By the time I woke up the next morning, the chief of staff of the hospital had already been informed of what had happened. The nurses were furious. The doctor made some comments to them as well. So I filed a formal complaint. I received a phone call from patient relations. We had a really lengthy conversation about what had happened. And the only thing that I was offered was a formal apology from the doctor, which I declined because I never wanted to speak to that lady ever again. The only thing that I had asked for was an explanation as to why she treated me so terribly. I didn't expect to get one. I didn't expect her to give an honest answer. Whatever happened to her after that, I don't know. I am in Canada, so I can't sue as far as I know. She saved my life. I'm healthy. The baby's healthy. I haven't been diagnosed with PTSD or anything like that. She was just really mean to me, and that is not exactly a court case. Was the baby born on his dad's birthday? No. I have a lot of mixed feelings about that, but ultimately I can be sad on my late husband's birthday and have reason to celebrate the day after, so it is what it is. Why did I have a doctor and a midwife? At my local hospital, the midwives have not been granted rights to medical inductions in the facility. So as soon as induction medication was required, my midwife had to transfer care to the attending physician and actually leave the hospital. She didn't want to. That was hospital policy. Another thing worth mentioning is I was in a midwife appointment when my husband's accident happened. I came home, I heard the news. I called the emergency line to get a hold of my midwife and tell her what happened, because I immediately panicked, wondering how the baby was going to be affected. I wasn't sleeping. I lost a ton of weight. I couldn't eat. Food actually did not taste good to me, and I had no hunger cues, so I wasn't hungry. And when I did put food in my mouth, it tasted like hot garbage. I can't even explain it. So I was really concerned about, obviously, the baby. And she immediately went to work to put supports in place to protect my mental health and the baby's health for the remainder of my pregnancy, and to make sure that I had a good labor and delivery experience. She's the one that recommended I hire a doula. I didn't even know what a doula was. My husband's accident made pretty big local news. So when I started reaching out to doulas, one of them knew who I was, had heard our story, and was so incredible the whole time. But I told my midwife I wanted my mom, my mother-in-law, and then a doula in the delivery room with me. And keeping my husband involved in the experience, I told her I was going to bring his urn. So she put all of that in my notes. The induction appointment had to be approved by the hospital and by the doctor that was going to be on that day, and all of this information was there. So it's not like I blindsided this doctor with human remains or an extra person. She was well aware of my situation. She knew that it was my husband's birthday. She knew I would have an extra person. She knew that I would have his urn. if she wasn't comfortable with it, she could have canceled. So I don't know why she didn't. Like, it was just cruel. As for the baby not having a birth certificate, the government required me to get a sworn affidavit from one of my late husband's parents acknowledging my son as my husband's baby. Again, my husband's baby. As if we didn't already have a baby together that he signed for happily. As if this wasn't a planned, wanted pregnancy. He posted the pregnancy announcement on his social medias. He attended ultrasounds and appointments. Like, this was such a wanted, planned child. And I have to get my mother-in-law to do a sworn affidavit saying that she believes her son fathered my baby. Just the most degrading, awful. So anyways, we submitted one. The government came back and said that was not good enough. Gave me all kinds of additional details that they wanted to see. My mother-in-law did that for me immediately. God love her. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have a good relationship with her. I haven't heard anything since submitting the second one, so we're still without a birth certificate or a social insurance number or anything like that. Early in this process, the government actually recommended that I just register him with a single parent, just me. No. He deserves to have his daddy's name on his birth certificate. His daddy's name deserves to be on there. Anyways, this whole process has been gross and degrading, and like, I lost my husband. I mean, they certainly don't make it easy.
Do my makeup with me to go out. So my boyfriend broke up with me a week ago, and low-key it's been like crying in my room, but I like am out of that phase now. And yesterday I went out to a party. He got so pissed at me, but he's literally going out with other girls too, and he's the one who ended things and stuff, so I don't know why he's getting like mad at me. But it was like literally this like whole thing, and I just like, I don't know, like, he just like, I don't even know really the reason why he broke up with me. He said it was to focus on himself and that it was just a break. But then like the longer like we went without like seeing each other and everything, it became like an actual breakup. But he was like really disrespectful at the end of the breakup. Like, we were really on and off, but this is like our first time like actually like dating and like trying things to like be real, and it didn't work, which obviously like hurt a lot because I wanted it to work so bad, but it didn't, and I can't force someone to stay with me. So I think now that I'm giving him the silent treatment and I'm actually like going out and I'm like getting over him, I feel like he's gonna feel the absence of like my love. Because already I left him undelivered for a couple hours on Snapchat, and he literally unadded me and then sent me an Instagram reel like 10 minutes after unadding me, because I was leaving him undelivered, and obviously he doesn't want to be left undelivered because he's used to me like being by his side 24/7. But I'm currently getting ready because I don't want to hear that this is too soon, because like literally my ex is pretty sure getting with their girls right now. But basically I went to a party yesterday because my friends were like, Gio, like because he literally has been just treating me like shit lately, and there's just like no point on like just sitting in my room crying. So I was like, okay, I'll go out. So I went out to this party, and there was this guy like in the middle of like because it's outside mostly, and my friend, like, the reason why we went is to meet up with her ex-boyfriend. Like, he was the one that like invited us to this party. It was like 40 minutes from my house. So we go, and I see the kid, and I'm like, why does this kid look so familiar? And I like see this kid, I'm like, why does he look so familiar? And her ex was like friends with him, so we like walked up to him, and he was like, wait, you look so familiar. And I was like, yeah, why do you look familiar? He was like, are you so-and-so, like my first and last name? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, how do I know you? And he was like, we used to snap like last year. I did not remember this at all. Like, I did a little bit. Like, I knew he looked very familiar, but I couldn't like get it on the top of my tongue on where. But anyways, so that whole night we kind of just like talked and everything. Like, again, like, I'm single, I'm just trying to like socialize. And then today, because he added me on Snap yesterday, today I get a text from my friend, and she's like, do you want to go out with them too? And I was like, you know what, like, sure. Like, yesterday my ex literally told me that he doesn't love me anymore because I went out and everything, which he was like, I don't even know, he was just saying some nasty stuff basically because I went out, and like I never like went out partying at all when I was with him because I was so loyal to this man, and he got really pissed. We were just like, he's so mad because he's not used to you like going out and doing stuff like that. When we were together, like I generally would just hang out with him and like stuff, which is my fault. Like I'm gonna give you some setting spray now. My ride is gonna be here in like 40 minutes. I'm just wearing this hoodie and some black hottie hots because again, like I'm not like dressing up or anything. He already saw me done up yesterday. I actually looked so pretty yesterday, like a little self-lave for myself. But he already saw me looking pretty, so you know, I might look like a little bit of a catfish right now, but it's okay. This is like my favorite lip combo. I'm in the sand. I went to the beach yesterday before I went to the party, so I like sand all over myself. Yeah, that is it. Wish me luck, guys. I'll give you guys an update tomorrow.
I went to Italy for 40 days with my best friend, and 20 days into the trip, we had to tell one of the girls that was traveling with us that she either had to go back home or part ways with us. And let me tell you what transpired on the trip for us to make that decision. Let me start out by saying that this person that was traveling with us is actually one of my friend's best friends. And my friend decided to invite her bestie and treat her to the whole trip 100%. This other gal was not like in the financial position to take such a big vacation, but my friend was like, you know what, I got you, I'll pay 100% of everything. So keep that in consideration. She joined us about 5 days into our trip. So we went to pick her up from the airport and it kind of started there. But I think at that point, like, we're just so excited about this girls' trip that we kind of looked past some things, but it started immediately. So we rented a vehicle because we were going to be touring all of Italy, well, the northern part, and then we were going to finish our trip in Sardinia, which is the south part of Italy. So because we were renting a vehicle, the vehicle we got at the rental company was a sedan. So with that, you know, we're girls, we love to travel, you know, pretty hefty, we pack a lot. So we had already communicated this to this other person that was coming on the trip. We need to give her a name. Samantha. We told Samantha, hey, listen, the car that we got is a sedan and we already have 2 huge suitcases. Do you mind bringing like one bigger than a carry-on, but less than the huge suitcases? So it's like that in between size. It's still a pretty good size. And she was like, yeah, no problem. Why not? We pick her up from the airport and she has a suitcase bigger than mine and my friend's. So that was already like, we asked you if you could, you know, take into consideration the car situation, and she didn't. And also, she gets car sick. So she always has to drive in the front seat, which, you know what, I'm a very accommodating person. You're a friend of my friend. If you feel this bad, hey, I don't get car sick. I can sit in the back, be on my phone, read, it's fine. However, you brought a bag that was way too big. We now have to fold seats. I'm now stuck in the back of the car like this. Like literally both seats on the side of me had to be folded down. So that's how we started the first day with Samantha with us. And I think I'm more annoyed about it right now because of kind of more that transpired on the trip. But at that point, I'm like, you know what? Everyone's here. Let's go enjoy our time, whatever. So we go back to our Airbnb. And it's like a rainy day or something, so we call it a night. I had gotten really sick, so I was taking like flu meds and yeah, just like taking teas and, you know, falling asleep early. And my friend, since she had been like doing all the driving, she's very like, I'm tired of driving, I need my wine and my rest, which, you know, understandably. Well, it is 2 in the morning and Samantha decides that it is a perfect time to rearrange all of her luggages, and everything is in those huge Ziplocs that you can pack and like air compress and all of that. So it's 2 in the morning and all we hear is this rummaging. And it's like, is this necessary at this time? Because there's other times during the day that you can rearrange, but she found it necessary that at 2 a.m. she needed to rearrange her luggage. So yeah, this is day 2, guys. Guys, I'm gonna make a part 2. I did not think this was gonna be a long story time, but it'll be worth it. Come back for part 2. Travel Nightmare part 2. So Samantha off the get-go tells us, listen guys, I know I'm not financially contributing to this trip whatsoever, but I am more than okay with couching it at our Airbnbs. I'm just happy to be here. And I thought that was a really nice and kind gesture of her. However, absolutely not. We always made sure that all of our accommodations included Samantha having her own bedroom and her own space. And I thought she was going to be happy with that, but it was never good enough for Samantha. Samantha always had some sort of critique to say about the place that we had rented, whether it was this place only has one bathroom, or guys, I don't like the way my bedroom is laid out. And then she would rearrange her whole bedroom, which that's just at that point like a personal preference, but she would just make it a point to make these like comments as if it was our fault that she wasn't accommodated to her standard. Which now leads me to our day-to-day activities. Guys, we went all out on this trip. We rented, I think at this point, when Samantha's on the trip, like 3 boats. We were out doing fine dining every single night, and it was never, there was always something. For example, we went to a Michelin star restaurant that she found on TikTok that she wanted to go to. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. We go, and the first thing she says is, this place is probably not even good because it only has 1 Michelin star. Well, you're the one that chose this place, and you know how hard it is to get a Michelin star? So comments like that that's not fun to be around. And she wasn't paying for the meal anyway, so she picks the places she's not paying, and she's still not happy with it. So that was just kind of the dynamic of being with her. We would go eat, and she's very particular with certain ingredients or whatnot. She needed to have she just had like very sensitive digestive, and she would always ask the waiter, hey, between A or B, which one would you recommend? And the waiter would be like, option B, and she'd be like, okay, let's go ahead and do option A. We would get option A, and she's like, I hate this. And she would take a bite, she would say she hates it, and then she would order option B, and she's like, I should have done that to go. And that was almost an everyday situation with Samantha, where, obviously I'm not paying for her, but that is, in my opinion, someone that's being very inconsiderate of the situation. And I bit my tongue because that wasn't my arrangement, kind of not my problem. But as a friend, I would never do that to a friend. Like, if someone's paying my way, I would be more conscious of my decisions or things of that. I don't know, that's just kind of how my upbringing was, is that if you're on someone else's dollar, you're more considerate, or you're at least more grateful, and you say thank you and things of that sort. And in this case, it was never ever good enough. And that, to be on a trip with someone like that, is very draining. All right guys, I'm gonna make a part 3, and this is kind of the final straw that broke the camel's back. And I at this point felt a little unsafe, so come back for part 3. Guys, I want to clarify something from part 1 of my video of the luggage and car situation. We had originally booked an SUV for this purpose. However, when we got to the car rental, they gave us a sedan. They said that they did not have any SUVs and that all they could do is give us a sedan. So when that happened, Samantha was still back in the States, and we called her to let her know the car situation. And it wasn't that we told her, hey, pack a carry-on and that's it. No, we asked her if she would be okay with packing a medium-sized check-in bag and a carry-on or whatnot, but just kind of not a huge suitcase because of the dimensions of the car and being able to fit everything. So that was one thing that I did want to clarify, and she was 100% on board, very understandable on the phone, and when she shows up, it was completely different. So I did want to clarify that for you guys. Also, another thing, I know a lot of you guys are asking for Samantha's version, and I would not have really posted about this, but the day that we did part ways, Samantha immediately started posting how her friends abandoned her in a foreign country, and then just started posting her narrative, her side of things, which I was a little hurt by because I thought that there was like a mutual understanding, and then she decides to kind of post her thing. So I had some time to really sit back and say, hey, do I want to post, or do I want to maybe give my version? And ultimately I do, and I appreciate you guys commenting. I know social media is the court of public opinion, so all comments are accepted, good, bad ones. I know this is the only way we grow, so I appreciate everyone tuning in and maybe letting me know what my faults were. Okay, so back to part 3. So we were in Lake Garda, and the night before us leaving, my friend puts a load of laundry to wash, and in hopes that it is dry in the morning for her to pack up and leave, right? So the morning comes, and Samantha's in the bathroom, and my friend's clothes is soaking wet on the floor. And she asks her, "What is my clothes doing wet and on the floor?" And Samantha says, "Oh, I took it out because I wanted to wash my towel." That was very irritating and, in my opinion, annoying, because you're sharing a space with someone's clothes is washing, it's soaking wet, and you just take it out and put it on the floor because you wanted to wash a towel. That was something I couldn't comprehend, because this was a washer dryer unit in one. So after the wash, there was a what's it called, a button that would automatically start drying. So it was wash and then it'll start drying. So somewhere she decided that she wanted to take out the clothes and put her towel to wash. And my friend, that kind of like set her off, and I think rightfully so, because I don't know if you would have done that, or I know I wouldn't have literally taken out someone's load of laundry to then put in mine, knowing that it still needed to dry. You know, there's turns, for me, it's just common courtesy. So my friend was upset at her and said, "Listen, like, why would you do that?" And Samantha just starts laughing at her. Seeing that my friend was upset and in distress, Samantha just starts laughing in her face. And that sets my friend off, because, of course, you're poking the bear. Well, Samantha then decides to go into her room, grab her phone, take out her phone, and start recording my friend while my friend is upset and in distress. And to me, that's not behavior of your best friend. That's someone that is trying to have like something on you, or for me, it's something very conniving. My friend is a public figure. She does do social media. So for someone to be like, "Let me record this person in distress so I can maybe use that in the future on the internet," was what it was giving. And I found that very off-putting and almost scary, because this person, I feel like, is capable of who knows what. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna record part 4, and that should be up here shortly.
So I was trying to explain to my therapist that I make TikToks, and she was like, "Oh, like, what do you make them about?" And I was like, "Oh, well, you know, I guess they're actually kind of inappropriate." And she's like, "Oh, are you posting?"
Travel Nightmare Part 4. So we go to Lake Como, and we are having such a great time. We do the wooden boat rental and eat fantastic food and literally just enjoy Como. That's something that, if you have not been and it's on your list, please do. It is stunning. But let me get back to story time. We are out having drinks one evening, and we come across a gentleman that's traveling with his mom, and they were so kind. They were from the States, and they ended up joining us, having drinks and just talking. And Samantha and this gentleman ended up hitting it off and exchanging information, which is super cool. And I was happy for them, because it looked like they were really just hitting it off. One rule that we had already established coming onto the girls' trip is, if we were to meet a man, the rule is we can't bring a man back to our place, because we need to take obviously each other into consideration, safety wise. And we also had established the rule that we wouldn't let a man know where we're staying. So we would either Uber to them or have them pick us up at the hotel next door to our Airbnb, something of that sort. But for us, like, safety was really important. We're 3 women traveling alone, and you just never know. You hear all sorts of things. So that was already an established rule. So Samantha lets us know that she's going to hang out with this guy, and she leaves the Airbnb. So my friend and I are getting ready for bed, and we're washing off our makeup and whatnot. And moments later, the door of the Airbnb opens, and Samantha is back, but she's not alone. She is with this guy. And although we had met him and he wasn't giving creeper vibes, it's like, this is still a stranger. This is still something that we had already talked about. So I don't know, but all I did was I just went into the room my friend and I were sharing and shut the door and locked it. And that's it. Just hope for the best. I hope nothing happens. But, you know, there's a stranger in your place. Thankfully, he was gone by the time we all woke up and we were all safe. That same day, Samantha had met another man, and they had been, I guess, texting. She was sharing with us kind of that they had been in touch and that he wanted to meet up. And Lake Como is really big. So he said he and his friends were going to come to our part of Lake Como so we can hang out. So she asked us if we wanted to join her with this other man and hang out with his friends. And we decided, yeah, why not? Let's go. And as we were walking to this place we were meeting these men, Samantha discloses to us that she's been having some, I guess, inappropriate conversations with him, and she pretty much insinuated that this guy wants to hook up with her. And at that point, we were literally a few steps away from the bar of where we were going to meet up with them. And it was just something where, hey, if that's the vibe that you're giving off, do his friends think that we're kind of wanting to do that as well? So my friend was literally kind of upset and said, hey, listen, next time, please disclose that to us because we can then decide if we want to join you. But if his friends are now under the impression that like maybe we're here to hook up, then that's not okay. So we'll go in with you, but if the vibes are off, we are leaving immediately and you can hang out with the guy you've been talking to. Luckily, his friends were so kind. He, however, red flags. Just an inappropriate man. He was this German guy. This whole group actually were German men, and his friends were so nice. He off the bat tells us that he has all of his ex-girlfriends wear butt plugs. That's the kind of behavior in men that we were kind of just around, and it wasn't pleasant. So my friend and I excused ourselves early from that evening, and Samantha stays back with this German man and his friends, and they eventually just drop her off at our Airbnb at the end of the night. So it's time for us to get back to Rome because we're going to fly from Rome to Sardinia. And in Rome, one of my friend's other friends was going to meet up with us because there was more girls that were joining for Sardinia. We had about a 4-hour drive, 4.5-hour drive to get to Rome. And by the time we made it to Rome and checked into our Airbnb, we were exhausted. So Samantha asks us if we are planning on going out that evening, and we tell her that, you know what, we want to save our energy. We're exhausted from the 4.5-hour drive, and we were just going to call it a night. And she said that she went on a dating app and she had been talking to someone and she was going to go out because she has been bored this entire trip. Not only did she say that she's been bored this entire trip, she said that she has done nothing and the only thing she's been wanting to do is go to Sardinia. So Sardinia was already becoming a little complicated because my friend had rented a villa. It was a 5-bedroom villa and there was 6 of us girls. So we were deciding who was going to share rooms, and my friend was like, listen, I am renting this. I would like to have my own room because I've been sharing this whole entire time, and are you okay with that? And I said, absolutely. She also mentioned that she wanted one of her other friends to get her own room. She had been going through a really rough time. She had just put her dog down and she really wanted to treat her other friend and let her have her own room. So at this point I had asked for my own room because I said, I will chip in and help pay for the villa. So can I get my own room? So it was like, yeah, that's fine. So we had asked Samantha, hey, listen, there's 5 rooms, there's 6 girls. Will you be okay with sharing a room for Sardinia? And she said no, because she moves a lot in her sleep and she'll probably hit a girl and she needs her own space. So then we said, there is a pull-out couch. There is, well, not a pull-out couch. Yeah, there is a pull-out couch that turns into a bedroom, but it's in its own personal workspace. It's its own room and everything. Would you be okay with that if you're unable to share a bed with someone else? And she said that she will not be sleeping on a couch. And if that's going to be the case, she is going to call this German man and invite him and have him get her a place so that they can stay together. So that was already her stance on the Sardinia situation. My friend is a little stressed out because she is a very accommodating person. She is very motherly, so she wants to make sure that everyone's okay, that she can provide for everyone. And yeah, so I could tell that my friend was pretty stressed and kind of hurt. Samantha proceeds to go on this date in Rome. And I tell Samantha, have fun. Please make sure that the door is locked. And please call if there's an emergency. Regardless of this whole Sardinia debacle, if there's anything, please call us. My friend and I fall asleep, and at 1:45 in the morning, my phone rings.
I do not have time for this. I do not have time for you.
Travel Nightmare Part 5. So I get a call from Samantha at 1:45 in the morning, and she says that she's unable to get into the building where our Airbnb is because someone had broke their key in the lock from the outside. So that is completely not her fault whatsoever. I told her to call if there's an emergency, and no problem. So we get up to go and get her in from the building, but when we get to our door, we realize that we are locked in. So when we realize we are locked in, we call Samantha and say, hey, listen, we are locked in. There's no way for us to get out of our unit to go to the building entrance to get you in. So you're going to have to wait until someone leaves the building for you to get in. And at that point, she is panicking and crying and says that she's very scared to be outside. When she expresses how scared she is, we tell her, hey, if you're that scared, call the cops, but we are locked in and we can't figure out how to get out of here. And at that point, it's when it clocked to me when I said, I told Samantha to make sure the door is locked. And when I said to make sure the door is locked, I just meant to make sure the door is closed and no one can come in, not lock us in our apartment. And I take ownership for that part. However, we had been dealing with a bunch of Airbnbs at this point where we knew that when we closed the door would automatically lock. So we couldn't leave the keys inside or whatnot. And then if we wanted that extra protection, then we would put the key in and lock it from the outside. So at this point, my friend and I are trying to see if there's any extra keys in the unit. We try to get in contact with our Airbnb host. It is 2 in the morning. They're not answering. So we're like, all right, let's see if we can have her maybe toss us the keys from outside. We go to the windows. We realize we're on the 2nd floor and they are barred windows. And I start to kind of panic a bit because if there is an emergency, if this building catches on fire, we are literally fucked. Like there's no way to physically get out of here. We're just locked in. There was no way out of this building, out of this unit. And, I do start to panic a bit. And it's very scary to be in that situation where you are locked in somewhere. So we call Samantha and we tell her, hey, listen, we are completely locked in. There's no way for us to get out of this building. And if something does happen, like, you're the safe one, not us. But let's find a way to get the keys and whatnot. So she then tells us, I only have 2% battery on my phone. So first of all, why are you going out on a date in a foreign country with a stranger with 2% battery? But teach their own. At this point, I'm more worried about myself than Samantha. So I open one of the windows and there are steel bars, but I'm able to yell for Samantha, and Samantha kind of gets around and she's able to see where we are. We check on her if she's okay. She's like, yeah, I'm fine. It's just dark out here. And we suddenly hear that there's a male voice, and we were under the impression that this person lived in the building and was also in the same situation where they couldn't get in. So she's talking to this person and he finds a way to kind of climb up and get near our unit. So he hands us the key. We get the key and we go to our front door, and we are still unable to unlock the door because the key is only for the outside. So we are still in a situation that is a very scary situation. So we go back to the window and we say, listen, we can't open the door because of the key is only for the outside. So we hand the keys back to this person. He gives them back to Samantha. And Samantha and him are just, she's no longer panicking. She's no longer crying. She is laughing, having a good old conversation on the outside. Well, my friend and I are panicking on the inside because we are locked in. And if something does happen, we're screwed. So my friend and I call the police because we need to see if there's a way for them to call the fire department or whatnot. Just, at this point, it is a safety hazard. So we're on the phone with the police. We're letting them know we can't get a hold of our host. This is the situation. And they're taking all of our information down. My friend goes out to the window and asks this guy, hey, do you live here? Is there a neighbor you can call to get you guys in the building? And this guy is like, I don't live here. I'm Samantha's date. She called me to come back. And I'm like, yeah, of course she did. My friend and I look at each other like, you gotta be kidding me. And Samantha proceeds to be laughing and she's with this guy and they just walk off and they're no longer in sight of us. And so I then yell for Samantha and I said, hey, listen, you have no battery. Can you please have this guy add me on Instagram so I can get in touch with him to get in touch with you? It's now 5 in the morning and I don't know if someone left the building, a neighbor buzzed them in. I have no idea what happened, but Samantha comes to the door, unlocks it, she's in. There is a sigh of relief for all of us. Like, we can literally leave if something happens. She is safe from her dates. We're all good. She walks in and we're like, do you want to, is there like anything you want to say or talk about? And she's like, no, I'm going to bed, guys. So I can list 100 things that I think were not okay, but you guys at this point can be the judge of that. So I then tell Samantha, hey, can we have a conversation in the living room? And she's like, yeah. So I said, listen, Samantha, you know, I feel like this trip has been a little rocky. We are leaving to Sardinia in 2 days, and I really don't want the end of this trip to go as the rest of the trip has been going. And, you know, you did mention that you have been bored this whole time, that you haven't done anything. And I just feel at this point, what you feel is fun is not fun to me, and vice versa. I feel that we have done so much this whole entire trip. It has been a trip of a lifetime. And if you don't think that renting boats, going to fine dining, sightseeing, and whatnot is fun, you know, that's okay too. But I just think at this point, there's nothing that we have in common. So I don't see Sardinia being any different. And, you know, I am paying a pretty big buck to be here, and I would not be okay for this to be happening in Sardinia. So I don't know if I can continue this trip with you. So Samantha agrees, actually. She says, listen, I agree. I feel like we don't really have the same things in common. What is fun to you is not fun to me. I have felt bored and whatnot. So she then also discloses that she has been feeling financially stressed, that there were some unexpected bills that were pulled from her account, and that does have her a bit stressed. So she then says, I've been thinking about it. I think it's best for me to go back to the States and go back to work because I just feel stressed, and I'm going to be happier being back home and working. So we agree that that's going to be the best course of action. I tell her we're still here. We have another day in Rome at the Airbnb. You're welcome to stay with us and whatnot. And on Thursday is our flight to Sardinia. And she found a flight on Thursday to go back to the States. My friend told her that she would pay for the flight difference. She would give her money for any food or extra expenses, and even for the Uber to the airport, and also the Uber when she lands in the States to get back to her apartment. So the next morning, Samantha sends us a group text and says, hey guys, I got my own Airbnb for the night, so I'll be staying at my own place and, you know, have fun in Sardinia pretty much. And my jaw dropped, guys. I'm like, she has money? She got her own Airbnb? What? So at this point, I'm like, I'm so ready for Sardinia. I'm so ready for new energy. I'm ready just to have fun. And my friend and I don't really speak about that. It was just something where I'm like, I don't know how she feels because she's the one that's in pain this whole time. And now suddenly Samantha is able to book her own stuff. But anyway, we go to Sardinia, we land in Sardinia, and all the girls are together. And that evening, my friend gets a message from Samantha's sister and says, hey, have you heard from my sister? I know you guys got into an argument, which wasn't the case. She was supposed to land back in the States, and no one's heard from her in 14 hours. Guys, yes, was I annoyed with Samantha by the end of the trip? Absolutely. However, this is very frightening and alarming. God forbid, we don't want anything to happen to Samantha. So I reached out to the date from the night before because I had his Instagram information, and I called him, and it was really late. It was like midnight. And I'm sorry to call you. This is Samantha's friend from last night. Have you heard or have been in touch with her? And he says, yes. She told me you guys kicked her out from your Airbnb, and she notified me that she was going to Germany. Okay. The end.